Welcome in, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I'm AC Kingpin 27 with you today for another episode of King's Corner. As always, I'm joined by the sultry co-host, my man, Fighting Titan. Titan, what's good, my brother?
What is good? I'm ready to hit harder than Julio hit that defensive back.
Ooh, baby, you coming in strong today.
Strong.
If you guys are new, welcome in, welcome in. If you guys are returning viewers or listeners to our podcast style stream, welcome back. This is the show where the King gets in here, talks with Titan. We just have a little conversation about a ton of different topics. We're taking topics from the community. We're bringing in small streamers to kind of talk with us, show us a little bit about themselves, and kind of hang out and just chat. But we're also talking things that are near and dear to our hearts as well. So just stay tuned to the podcast stream. Hopefully y'all are enjoying what we've got going on. If y'all are watching here live on Twitch, thank you so much for being here. If y'all are following the series on YouTube, we much appreciate it. Hope y'all are enjoying. Be sure to smack a like on the video, smash that subscribe button, and tap that bell notification so you get notified when we put up more content. But today, you see it, we're here in Madden. I've got Superstar KO Campus Legends on the board because our theme for today is going to be college football. We're kind of getting a review going on of what's been happening all summer, kind of a review on what's going on in the season so far, and then we'll kind of do a prediction on what we think is going to happen this season. So first and foremost, Titan, man, your college affinity. Who's your college team? Who's that go-to? Who you always got to be rooting for on them Saturdays?
If you put two and two together for my Fighting Titans, I'm a Tennessee boy at heart. So I bleed orange and white for my Volunteers. Go Big Orange.
I love it. See, and I love that you have Joe Milton, man. Thanks for taking him off our hands.
Oh, someone's got to develop him.
That's right. Harbaugh can't develop quarterbacks. If you guys didn't know already,
no secret.
I grew up in Northeast Ohio, but I am not an Ohio State fan. I get ridiculed by my family pretty much every year for that. But I am a fan of the University of Michigan. Go Blue, 100% all the way. Harbaugh is going to lead us to the promised land eventually. It might take 10 more years, but we'll get there, I promise. But today, we're going to be talking. I think we're going to start off the show with name, image, likeness. That was a big hot topic this year. We want to kind of dive into it. Titan and I have talked about it on stream before. We've talked about it off stream. We know it's a game changer, right? Titan, it's a game changer in the college landscape, not just football, but in the college athletic world. So initial thoughts from you. How did you feel initially before the agreement? So what were your thoughts on college athletes getting paid? What was that like for you?
I think that they didn't, they were completely shamming these kids, right? Because you got these you look at, who is it? Was it not Hugh Freeze? Who just got the big contract extension, coach-wise? Like $9 million a year.
Oh, there's a lot of those coaches, bro. A lot of those coaches got those extensions.
Right. I can't remember the name off the top. I just got a huge extension.
What's going on, Jay Mizzle? Thanks for stopping by today, man.
And so you're looking at it, and it's like they can afford to pay the coach $9 million.
Right.
What are they making for the school and the program? And these kids, well, you've got a full ride. That's cool. Thanks for letting me eat at the chow hall. They have a dorm room. But here's the thing: it's like, what do they do when they're not doing football besides school, right? Because a lot of the full ride scholarships didn't allow the athletes to get jobs.
Right.
So if you didn't come from a family that could support you, or you weren't taking out a ton of student loans, which if you're under a full ride scholarship, why would you? You didn't have a way to make money. But these schools, the TV, CBS, Epi, Fox, everyone's making billions off the backs of these kids, and these kids, Reggie lost his Heisman because he got a car.
No, I mean, Reggie lost his Heisman because he was living in a place that his parents were getting paid for. He was getting paid for. There's more to that story than just the car. But I'm with you there.
There is, but I mean, insert reason X here. Like maybe that's not the greatest example, but even so, but that transitions into it. You asked for before, but it kind of segues into after. Well, I won't get too far ahead, but I'm glad because. Was it like 1%, 2% of student athletes actually go professional, and of those, and so the greatest earning potential they might have might be right now.
100%, 100% agree there.
Old Rattler might turn out to be the next Ryan Leaf, and so instead of making 400 million like Mahomes, the dude's going with whatever he's got from college, and that's if he stays to finish his degree. But now, if he has a chance to earn several $100,000, it might not be generational wealth, he can at least set himself up for the next stage of his life, for giving the school and TV, millions and billions of dollars.
No, and I think you bring up a good point there. That's 100% on the nose, I think. 100% right there, Titan.
Uh-huh.
Titan, I think you're 100% right, man. Name, image, likenesses, I think, has a big play in here for college athletics. And I'm thinking of it from those non-money sports, right? I look at swimming. I look at track and field. I look at these athletes that from early age gymnastics have been grinding to get to an Olympic athletic level, right? And in high school, they graduate high school, man, and then they go to the Olympics. And because they're in college, they can't sign any of these deals. They can't sign with Nike, Under Armour, any of these to make that kind of money. And I think this name, image, likeness really changes the ballgame in that respect, right? Look at it. Michael Phelps, the deals he could have made in college. Katie Ledecky, the money that she's making now. Look at Simone Biles, the contracts, think about it, in college that they could have signed. Look at there's women's teams that are signing full team endorsement deals with local businesses. There's a full offensive lineman for a team that's signed with a barbecue joint. And I'm with you that there are money-making programs that the players do not see that money on the back end. And look at college basketball. How much money does March Madness bring in every year for college, for the network broadcasters, for all the advertisers? And the players never saw a dime of it. So I do think it's a big win. I think it could be a game changer. And I love the fact that we're putting limits on it. I love the fact that we have a committee designed to oversee and to make sure that there's not one school forcing players to sign these deals and then, get compensated because they have to, right? I would rather see, and I love it. I love that a player can go out now and push his brand. A player like Dylan Gabriel at UCF with a logo that has the UCF colors can't have the UCF logo, but can use those colors for his brand. I'm loving this. I'm excited because I'm excited to see what type of player we get, and see who we get coming through. And I'd also look at it from a standpoint of which of the college athletes can sign, sports contracts and then still play college sports. There's athletes that can get drafted by teams, sign those contracts, and still play in college, right? And then there's other sports where they can't do that. They get drafted, they're automatically done if they sign that contract. So I think name, image, and likeness helps level that ball field in that respect. And it can only it's a win either way, and it can only go up, and it can only change for the more positive from there in my eyes.
There are, but just like everything good, there's also a smidge of evil that creeps in, right? So now you have to have the oversight, right? Not necessarily for the athletes, but for the schools. And I say that because we'll take one of the premier colleges, and it pains me to say that as a Tennessee Vol, but you look at Alabama, right?
The Saban factory, right?
The Saban, yeah, that Saban could murder orphans in the middle of Tuscaloosa and no one would see him. That's just how it is.
Saban could murder orphans in Tuscaloosa and nobody would lift a finger.
In the
I love it.
Times Square during
I love it. I love it.
Nothing happened. Do you see anything? I didn't see anything, Coach.
I didn't see anything, Coach.
Back to the original tangent. But you look at what's to stop with, hey, we're really close with Nike. Hey, number one, 5-star blue chip quarterback. I need you. If you sign with Alabama, I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to get this $2 million offer during.
Yeah,
and Nike.
Yeah, no, I see where you're going with that, and like I said, I think that's where that oversight committee is designed to step in, right?
Well, we're hoping, but I mean, I don't have any faith in it because they've been making their lives work. Like the oversight committee's pulling in 6 figures a year, they're telling the kid from Western Kentucky that he can't get a deal with Bill Bob's Burger Joint Haircut and Tire Center.
Okay, so then we'll take it a step further. So do you think the name, image, likeness, and do you think the colleges having more control over their own discipline in regards to this certain situation? Do you think that, and we know there's been a lot of issues with the NCAA in the past, in recent past. Do we think the NCAA as we know it is changing and could be gone, and we might see the NCAA in a completely new entity within the next couple of years?
Oh, absolutely.
Because
if the NCAA, bold prediction alert, right? If the NCAA is not dead 5 to 10 years, I'll be impressed.
Right. See, I see these schools getting more power, and this is going to join us right into the next topic, conference realignment. I see these schools gaining more power, right, and really picking and choosing what they're doing, and a lot of it's brought on by these network deals. You look at what ESPN has done for the SEC network, for the Big 12 network, for Texas Longhorn Network, being straight up on ESPN.
Texas
and
wasn't ready for the SEC, bro.
Right, right. But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, you see these big money deals. Does that have something? Is that the start? Is this the start? This big we saw conference realignment years ago. We saw the Big 12 change, and we saw the Big 10 change, and we saw the Pac-12 change, and we saw these big conferences change. We saw the Big East pretty much go to nothing. We saw the ACC and the American Conference kind of pick up the scraps. Is this the second evolution of that, and are we closer to a dissolution of what we know as the NCAA now? Is that our start?
God, I hope so. Right, because here's what I would ask you, King. Right, if you're the king, right, you're supposed to be the highest, most exalted wisdomness in the court.
Oh, okay.
Here, let me lob this to your throne.
All right.
So, why? What is the point of a realignment? Why bother to do it? Why
you realign to strengthen your conference. You realign to show strength for your conference.
Okay, so
now I say that in more words than one. I'm gonna let you go, and then I'm gonna tell you why that's my answer.
Sure. So outside of the conference championship, which is not standardized because not every conference has a championship.
Right.
Right. So outside of that, what's the real point? Because you could take the same approach as an independent like Notre Dame, and you can book your own competition. So,
right.
Like we say, I hear you saying strengthening the conference, and I get that, right?
But you're thinking of it. Okay, so you're thinking of it only in a football sense. So they got to think of it in every sport. So Notre Dame is in the Big Ten in hockey, right? They are in other conferences for basketball and other sports. Football, they're independent alongside, some others. And right. I'm 100% with you. That is why I say strengthening the conference. So I'm going to specifically look at what the SEC has done with Oklahoma and Texas, okay? Who is the powerhouse year in, year out NCAA basketball for the NCAA, for SEC?
For SEC?
SEC basketball. Who's the perennial powerhouse?
Why don't you give me your take on that? Because that's just a different rabbit hole.
Go with it, man. You give me a couple teams. It doesn't. In my eyes, it's Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
And they're really Florida had their years. Everybody's had their years. All right.
Yeah.
Everybody's had their years, but you're bringing in
going through it now. Yeah.
Correct. You're bringing in Texas and Oklahoma. You already have. If you're the SEC, you already have the Texas market with Texas A&M. All right. That's not the market you went after. You went after the Longhorns and the Sooners. You're going after those big players from those states and from those surrounding areas that want to play football at those colleges, that want to play basketball, that want to play baseball at Texas, because Texas is the baseball powerhouse, bro. Has been for years. All right? I grew up wanting to play baseball at the University of Texas. So I think there's more. I absolutely understand where everyone's first notion is football, because football is the moneymaker. Whether we like it or not, football is the ultimate moneymaker for college sports. March Madness is there as well. I would put those right up with each other, but football gets the eyes for a season where basketball gets it for a month, right?
Right.
So when I look at football, and you said it, Texas ain't ready, and that's why they're not coming in until 2025, right? That's why the agreements can't leave the Big 12 till then. That's why you see the Big 12 now going after BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, and UCF. because they know they have to do something to compete. The Big 12 grabbing UCF, puts the Big 12 footprint in the state of Florida. The Big 12 going after Houston with what Houston has done keeps that footprint as much as possible in the Big 12. So for anybody who wants that history, they want that Big 12 history. Now they're going to look at Houston, right? You're bringing in Cincinnati. To me, that's the wild card. Cincinnati, Ohio, Big 12 it's not in my eyes for Ohio. I understand the play to bring them in though, because that team is on the upswing, right? We see this every year with these smaller schools. We see Boise, we see BYU, we've seen Utah, we've seen the UCFs of the world, getting them momentum, and now they're reaping the rewards, right? So I do think realignment is adjusting, but I also say that it's a negative, because if you're looking at your moneymaker sports, you could start cutting schools. The SEC, when the contract's up, could say, we don't want to sign Vanderbilt to our contract. Now, Vanderbilt is moving up in baseball over the last couple of years. But you tell me the last time they did anything in football or basketball, right? So I think it's twofold. I think this could be a very big positive for colleges, for the conferences to know, realignment can happen. We could get some different, rivalries. But I think you need to start looking at the other end of the deal. I think we need to start looking at what happens when, the SEC realizes that there's teams that are going 12-1 because they're losing to Alabama, but 6 of their wins are against the bottom feeders in that division, right? And they're not blowouts, so that hurts you at the end of the day. I think that's maybe the one thing we need to be looking at, not focusing on. But don't be surprised when these conferences come out and say, okay, we're a 16-team conference now, and when this deal's done, we're going to stay strong. But when that deal's done, they start dropping schools.
Well, I mean, there's so much you can dive into, right? It's definitely
right.
On podcast, just on NI, it's just on conferences alone. The thing is, not every conference has every sport. Not every sport is funded.
Right. Absolutely, 100%.
Tennessee basketball. Say if ECU joins it, right, or Oral Roberts or one of those places joins the SEC, it's not going to be the same kind of team. It's not going to be the same offerings. It's not going to be the same.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
It's not going to be the same exposure.
Now it will be. It will be when those teams start breaking in the 25 to 50 mil every year because they're in the conference, shared money.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. Through a roundabout subversive way,
right?
Is it's all about money, because the biggest thing, and you see it with the NFL too, the TV contract. We got that new big TV contract. It's going to affect the salary cap.
Yep.
We've got some, the SEC network, or whose teams are showing on Fox, because that's who's going to get the cash. So
the Big Ten's on Fox right now, right?
Right.
SEC has the CBS deal. But I think that there's deals that are changing place over the next couple of years. So,
sure, I mean, but my thing is a lot of it too is about the money. I really wish I could say that they have the students' best interest, but they haven't had the students' best interest in a long time.
And now you're talking NCAA as a whole, right? Not necessarily the school.
Not necessarily a school, right?
Right. Okay, I get where you're going. Yeah.
Right. Not a school, but schools, right? Not a person in NCAA, but as a whole,
100%.
They're about the bottom line dollar, right? So what makes more is you want to get the best, right? It's like recruiting any kind of a team, right? Just like in MUT, you want the best for your team. You might have so many slots, right? But the problem is there's not a standardized limit to the conference number. That's the other problem, right? The SEC could be half the dang U.S. and then the Pac-12 and the Big Ten. Right. Which they're going to just keep changing their numbers because the numbers are going to keep changing. So what you're hard and fast limit.
So what you're saying leads us into the alliance, the quote unquote alliance. The agreements are in place for the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, and Pac-12 to have a scheduling alliance, right? Now, I think there have been some pundits that have said this perfectly, and there have been some that, I think we all are hoping for an expansion to college football playoff, right? I think we're all hoping for that.
Absolutely.
The alliance, that their scheduling alliance, is only going to help these schools. I mean, unless you're Ohio State and you lose to Oregon, right? Unless you're Ohio State and you lose to Oregon, unless you're Texas and you lose to some bottom feeder in the SEC, right? Come on. Texas wasn't ready, like you said. Texas wasn't ready.
By Arkansas.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm literally gonna use your quote for the next like couple months. Texas wasn't ready. I love it.
Texas wasn't
but
ready.
but I look at this and I think that opens up more games for us. Like we're used to seeing the USCs, the Oregons, really, going after that Pac-12. We're used to seeing Ohio State's, Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan in there in the Big Ten. We're used to seeing Florida State, Clemson, every once in a while a Boston College, Virginia Tech in that ACC. Big 12 has always been Texas, Oklahoma, but we've seen A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. We've seen these schools come up. So like I am excited for an alliance that gives us this scheduling, this depth in scheduling. But I think that helps us, and I think I would love to see some type of contingency for the college football playoff. We keep talking, you said it before, Notre Dame independent. We have all talked about the group of five, those American conferences, Conference USA. Every year there's one of those teams that plays amazing, right? Every year there's a team that plays, 11-0, 12-0, and just doesn't get the respect because they're not playing that competition, right?
The why not us sign.
Correct. Hey, national champion UCF. I don't want to hear it. Let's go.
Oh my
God. So what I mean is I would love to see a college football playoff where we have five major conferences. We have the Power Five. Conference champion automatic bid. I don't care win-loss record. Conference champion automatic bid. I think an independent / group of five is your six. And if you want to make them the 8 just because, make them the 8 just because. I don't care. Or if you just put them all 1 through 8 and then you seed them from there, that's fine. But I think the last 2 spots are legitimately the at-large bids. To where if you see an Alabama that runs the table, right? We've seen this before. An Alabama that runs the table and they knock off Florida in the championship, and that's a one-loss Florida that loses by 3 points. Are they better than a 10-2 Ohio State that won the Big Ten? I don't know, but I'd love to find out, right? So make them an at-large team. And if the third team happens to be LSU, who lost to Alabama on a fluke Hail Mary at the end of the game, and they didn't make the SEC final because they're in Alabama's division, are they the third best team in the SEC? Hell yeah. Are they the third best team in the country? I'd love to find out, right? I think that's what I'd like to see.
I mean, it goes. You can really go down the rabbit hole now. You make some great points, which I really enjoy. But hell, Ohio State's had 2 losses in 2021 already, right? They just got drubbed.
Yeah. And what? They haven't played anybody in the Big Ten, right? So
right. Yeah. You're getting drubbed by people outside your conference. So if other conferences are drubbing you like that, at what point are you running on name, image, and street cred off that giant, ridiculous O?
Right. I mean,
at what point are you?
I'm 100% with you, and that's what I'm saying. That could be any team. That could be any conference. That's what I'm getting at. So
any team.
I think this realignment.
I'm a Vols fan after the Pitt loss.
I'm with you. I think this realignment is a good thing that's happening now. But like I said, I am worried that it could potentially be a bad thing when TV deals are done, when contracts are done with those schools, and the conference as a whole votes, hey, it's negative to us to keep scheduling and playing Vanderbilt every year or UCF every year because they're not, I can see my fear is we start to see these conferences drop the schools, and then we truly have 5 conferences with 8 to 10 teams in them because that's where you're going to get your magic. And why don't we just get one super conference and we see who the actual player, the team of the year is. So.
Or what's worse is that you get these teams that come up. You remember the great Appalachian State smack?
Hey, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that.
I'm sure you don't, but I haven't seen your boys schedule them again since that.
Oh hell no, bro.
Right. So that's the other thing.
We ain't stupid.
Right, you just paid the school $1 million to come in there and embarrass you.
Wait a minute. We're not Florida State. We don't pay Jacksonville State to come in and beat us on a Hail Mary at the end of the game, bro. Sorry, we ain't about that life. Well, we're not about that life. So, I think you and I agree on points, and we also see it a different way on some points, and that's a good thing, right? Because I know that's how a lot of the people feel. So let me know in the comments down below, guys, what your thoughts are on this name, image, likeness going on. How this conference realignment kind of shakes out in your head. and maybe what you want to see going forward for the college football playoff. I think that's kind of where we're going to, is changes. Titan, it's college football playoff time now. Two teams that are going to make the final, playing each other for the national championship. Who are they?
All right, so one more time.
Two teams that are making the college football playoff final that are playing for the national championship. Who are those two teams?
That are playing for the national championship. Ooh, all right. So I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I'm going to say it's going to be Alabama, which isn't on the limb.
Hey-o!
And I'm going to skip over Georgia, and I'm going to say Oregon.
Okay. So you're of my thinking too. So I seem to think that we're going to get an SEC championship of Alabama, Georgia. Now, I think that's Georgia's first loss of the season. I think Alabama's running the table. I know it's tough. The SEC is tough. The grind is tough. I'm sorry. I see Georgia's first and only loss happening against Alabama in the championship game. I, like you, think Oregon has a chance to make the college football championship. However, if Alabama and Georgia are at opposite sides of the bracket, and it's Alabama playing someone, and it's Georgia playing Oregon, I think Georgia's winning that game.
I think it's a tough call.
No, absolutely. See, I think we're going to see an SEC championship and a college football championship that is the exact same teams. I think we're seeing Alabama, Georgia in the championship. What's going on, Chevelle? Thanks for stopping by, bro.
Hey, what's up, Chef? Hey, go, Pat, go. All right, got that one in there. All right, so.
Stick and jab.
Stick and move.
Damn.
Coming from the top. Look, my Tide's got the brakes beat off him with 5 sacks by Chandler Jones.
Oh, bro, Chandler Jones. Woo.
I'm just figuring out who's in the canoe I'm drilling holes in with me. That's all right.
We're not looking good for our playoff picks and our championship picks, bro. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
So you really think it's Oregon, Alabama, huh?
So jumping back to that, if you remember the Marcus Mariota Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Up-tempo.
Chip Kelly offense. That Chip Kelly offense, yes.
They're running that no huddle's kind of coming back. Hell, I've never
that's
doing no huddle, and I don't know. This is the first time I've seen them not do.
Yes. Well, I think that's Milton. I think that's Milton to that's where he strives.
Yeah. But you look at all that, and I think Georgia doesn't see that. Yes, they're a powerhouse school. Yes, they play a pro-style offense, but it's
the SEC is tough.
Yeah, the SEC plays a lot of pro-style stuff.
So
maybe seeing Tennessee during the year will help them out as far as in terms of being able to track it. But if they make it to Oregon executes that on a very, very high level, right?
Yeah,
it's not like the Navy offense. Like Oregon has athletes.
Now, the one thing I'll say about Oregon, the Pac-12 always trips up itself. Whether UCLA has the game of their life and beats Oregon, or the Pac-12 always trips up themselves.
Apply that same thing that the SEC championships, the NCAA championship a week early.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I truly believe we're seeing that. I think we're seeing a repeat this year. I hands down think the best two teams in college football this year are Alabama and Georgia. And if they don't meet in the college championship because of they played in the SEC championship and Alabama beat them, I don't care. Best two teams I want to see play for the final.
Right.
I understand that anybody can knock off anybody any week. Alabama could walk in to Jacksonville State tomorrow and lose, right? It's not happening. Nick Saban ain't letting that happen. I'm just saying. Could walk into App State and lose on a blocked field goal. It ain't happening. Nick Saban ain't letting it happen.
I tell you what, though, I caught the Alabama game this past week, and small twig offshoot.
Right.
It was what was on TV, and I was watching them beat the brakes off the poor U. The U stands for unready, apparently.
Right.
And it's just, you look at the quarterback position. Oh, well, Mac Jones left. You can't tell.
Excuse me again, sorry.
Wide receivers left. You can't tell. They're running back. It's
5-star recruits, bro. 5-star.
It's Derrick Henry, who looks like Najee Harris, who
Yep.
who runs like Mark Ingram,
Yep.
runs like Josh Jacobs, and you can just rattle off these names. And
100%.
Alabama's turning into the NFL farms, and you can't. It's just this big bruising NFL back that's in a college uniform, and it just doesn't stop. And they're 3 or 4 deep. It's impressive, and I hate Alabama.
Okay, so let
I'm
me
a
throw this
college
to you.
football fan. It's nuts.
Fighting Titan, this 5-star wide receiver recruit. Man, he can go anywhere he wants to go in the country. He can go to his hometown college, home state, and really not fight for a national champion. Or he could go to Alabama, be coached by the greatest college coach of all time, have a pipeline of coordinators that routinely get signed and go to the NFL that can praise for you to every front office in the league, to every coach in the league. Where are you going to play your college ball? You know what I mean?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Right. So I would add this is you had the same 5-star recruit, and thank you for making me a blue chip. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All the love in the world. Hey, I'll be the 5-star center. You can be the 5-star wide receiver. Let's go.
That's it. So on that same vein, right? That's where you have the different breakouts. Do I go to, Western Colorado, where I know I'm going to be the starter and I can get that exposure because I have that kind of faith in my skill set?
Right.
Or do I go to Alabama, where at best I may be a 4th string and not even have a full ride?
Right. You're not going to play till your junior year. But all you need is one good season to get drafted in the NFL, apparently.
Right. Well, hell, all you need is one good season in the NFL. Look at Matt Castle.
Hey, Matt Castle. Let's go.
Scammed, 30 to 60 million for one season?
Let's go, Matt Castle. Do it up, baby. Let's go.
Matt Castle making generational wealth off of Bill Belichick's system.
I mean, you got a point there. You got a point there.
The moment he went 11-2, and not with another team, he did.
Right. And so like I understand that argument every year of the best players are going to go to that school but we've seen 5-stars that have routinely gone to Alabama start going to other schools recently. I'm not saying they're producing. I'm not saying they're going to develop into the same 5-star player that we knew in high school that we would plan to see in college and hope to see in the NFL. But we're starting to see these players go other places. And I think you said it best. They're the NFL factory. They're just pushing recruits out, pushing pro players out left and right. So I just don't see anybody. Alabama can be beat. They are human. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. I just don't think there's anybody better.
No, and I mean, you just got to look at what's the ultimate goal, right? Nick Saban is just going to continue on coaching there, and as long as he does, he's 70, he doesn't age, so he's got another 150 years at the helm.
Right.
Right. You can't. You've got to look at the program for Alabama, and they're really the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NCAA college. And I say that because the Steelers have had 4 coaches in the past.
Yeah, 3 coaches. Yeah.
3 coaches in the past 60 years, something ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing, right? Once Saban goes, that guy's gonna I don't think that he will not. I believe he'll groom his replacement.
No, bro. Him and Belichick already have it worked out. Josh McDaniels is going to come down and coach Alabama.
Well, where did Josh? I thought Josh McDaniels was already a Saban assistant.
No, he was with Belichick for all those years, and remember every year. Dude, he's up for this Browns job. Oh, he's up for the Colts job. Oh, he's Bill Belichick's heir apparent, bro. They already have the agreement. He's going down to Saban.
Bill Belichick and Nick Saban is the same devil with a different sweat.
He's going down to Alabama, bro.
Nick Saban flies out and puts on a mask.
You're right, though.
The game on Saturday.
You're right, though. You're 100% right.
It's the same. You joke, but it's the same cut. Just like I look at Najee Harris and I look at Derrick Henry, it's the same dude.
Oh, absolutely. 100% it is.
Bruising power back that runs like a solid 4.4.
Right.
Nobody wants to tackle that dude. Not in the NFL, not anywhere else.
I mean, can you blame him?
No. I wouldn't. No, that's like getting hit by a Mack truck. They already say tackling the end in the NFL is like running into a garage door at full speed.
Right.
You know.
So then, so we've talked NIL, we talked conference realignment, we talked college football playoff. I want to end tonight's little episode of King's Corner by putting you in the corner on the hot seat.
Ooh.
What's the one thing this college football season that you are most looking forward to? If you want me to start, I will, because I already know my answer.
Go ahead. Absolutely. If you're
all right,
send it.
We've been dealing with the pandemic now for the last year and a half. I am a Michigan fan, and my whole family's an Ohio State fan. I am looking forward to the Michigan-Ohio State game, to have the opportunity to have lunch with my father, to watch the game with my father, my wife, and my son, and enjoy the game of football. I don't care if look, Harbaugh's got to beat Ohio State, right? But I'm going to say this. I don't care. I just want to watch football with my dad. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's where I am most looking forward to this year.
I tell you what, I think for me, similar, right, but different. I'm, pandemic aside, be safe, mask, no mask vaccination, just set the political stuff to the side.
Right.
It is just good to hear the roar of a crowd. I enjoy watching the game.
Yep.
Because the oohs, the ahs, the cheers, the disappointment, right?
Yep.
The elation, the high fives, all that stuff that comes with being a fan, which is why you watch, right? If you're not playing.
100%.
Just not having these quiet college stadiums where the dude goes in and he, Santonio Holmes in the Super Bowl drags the toe for the touchdown that changes everything.
Right.
And it's not, crickets, or even worse, piped-in crowd noise.
Oh, I hated that. I hated that to no end.
Everyone, piped-in crowd noise, which, it's so I'm looking forward to football actually feeling like football again.
Yep. 100% with you there.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Titan, I want to thank you for joining, man. Thank you for entering the King's Corner. Thanks for sitting on the hot seat, bro. It's always a pleasure to have you around. But you are but I need everybody to remember, you are the co-host of the show. So I'm going to throw this to you for episode 5. Episode 5 is going to be Titan's pick, ladies and gentlemen. Titan is going to be picking our topic. He'll be letting us know over the next couple of days what we'll be talking about next episode. And I'll try to let you guys know on social media what we'll talk about. So we're going to give this to Titan to kind of think about for a couple of days, mull on this. Definitely hamsters. You hear this? We're going to let him mull it over. And we're going to let him get this topic out. We're going to let him lead King's Corner next time. So I want to thank you for joining. I want to thank you all for being here. Appreciate the love. Titan, as always, thanks for joining in, man. Great insights. I'm glad that we can do this. Just sit and talk, have fun, agree, and disagree all at the same time.
Oh, absolutely, brother. It's been great.
I think that's the absolute fun of it, is you and I have talked about some of these things for a while, just going off the cuff and having fun with it. It's a blast to finally really get to talk and interact with this community.
Yeah, and I make no bones about hiding my bias either.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm 100% with you. Let's go. So, guys, I'm AC Kingpin 27. For my man, Fighting Titan, thank you all for tuning in. Like I said, Titan's got next topic for episode 5. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed episode 4. We will catch you next time.